Hello and good afternoon. Now, before we begin, I would like to give a huge thank you to all of my active patron members. A big thank you to Nephos, Awesome, Katie Campbell, Evie, Lexindor Devont, Azalea, Bugsvinom, Nodunter, Fandiel Inn, Envious Nova, Lamb, Indigoblin, Rachel C., Makoto, Bedtime, Stella, Spam Juniper Turn, Cloaked Pelt 29, Aylin, Arantash, Tess, Gwendolyn Adamsbone, Azura Akamor, Emma, Nobody at All, Agatha, Ragecat 888, Amy Wires, The Octa Hat, Evelyn, Puppy, Desib, Rosebout, Nunberg, Fish Salad, Antari Akiyama, Sarha Smith, Valkyr Tuno, Galahad, Salgor Agaras, Marisa Kersidasame, Benifer the Potato, Genetic Zero, ZT Mackin, Kyra, Void Dweller, T35, Elster's Shiny Things, Jessica, Amy Olgers, Tiny Portal, Chloe, Beer the Space Witch, Ellipses, CM Fireflies, Some Guy, Ghost 48, Joanna, Indigo, Aylin, Kai, Danny Babani, TGA, Breedable Vaporeon, Eden, Mick Shepherd, Captain Aardvark 986, Lily Adams, Hazel, Alice, Kolek 92, DFA Plays, Robot Waifu, and Blood Moth. Thank you. Thank you so very much for all of your support. It truly means the universe to me. Thank you for helping put food on my table. If you too wish to become an active patron member, please click the link in the description down below to visit my Patreon page. And now, without any further ado... Hi, it's very good to see you. Hello. Whoop. Apparently I'm moving around elements with very little regard for rhyme or reason. Well, at least there's a little reason here and there where, most everyone's mad here. It's just that my madness comes with a little reason now and again. But anyways, how are you doing today? How are you doing? I know that it's been a while since I have last streamed. That's my fault. I sometimes fall into slumps where I don't always, get back into streaming when I should, and that's my fault. Sometimes I get really tired, and sometimes I just deal with supreme amounts of burnout. I'm just gonna be real about it. Sometimes I just get really burnt out on streaming, and though it is, one of my favorite things to do, I just don't want to do it all the time. It's like drinking soda. If you drink nothing but soda day in and day out, eventually you just get tired of it. And then the sweetness just goes, ugh, and it just ends up disgusting you after a while if you don't, get it in check fast enough. And the last thing I want to do is let my streams become a place where I just feel like I'm choking myself, like I'm forcing it down. Because that's not fair to me, and it's certainly not fair to you. You deserve to find a place that is, open and welcoming instead of, feeling stifled. Isn't that right? I might have, a few off-the-cuff, rambles that I might go on, because, I decided to do what is perhaps not the best sort of thing in the universe, but it's one for me. It is a choice for me that not everyone, has to do. No one chooses to do. I chose to do it because, well, I was kind of curious about how I would react to it all, and it seems like I'm relatively stable-ish. I'm questioning, a lot of things right now. A lot of things. Anyways, I just want to say thank you and welcome to Violet, Emma, Winter, Guinevere, and Nathan. Hello and welcome. my favorite peeps in the entirety of the cosmos, along with those who are yet to join. I'm just hoping that I'm moving the camera right. Sometimes I have it in awkward positions. As I've said, it's been a fair bit since I've streamed, so I might have moved the darned thing around a couple times without realizing it. So if I ever just get stuck in place, I just move the camera because I don't want to open up the little tracker thing, because the face that the tracker makes is creepy. Well, actually, you know what? Hang on a second. I've actually got, a little thing. A BRB screen. Is that really so hard for me to do? So I just forget why I have things. I have things for the convenience of them. Excellent. That should be everything, and now I should bring myself back. Hi! Yeah, this is why we have Be Right Back screens. Sometimes this happens. Also, welcome, Random Internet Surfer 2000. It is so very good to see you. I have not seen you in ages, and it is a joy to see you. And to all those who stop on in, please, please come in and talk. I adore hearing you, or rather seeing your words fly by on the screen to my left. Love your recent general audios, hope you're doing well. I've had my ups, and I've had my downs. I have been in loving relationships, and I have suffered breakups. Such things happen over the course of life. Want to clarify that everything is all right with me, and any breakups that have happened amicably. We're all cool with each other. So yes, you've noticed that the general audios are out. I started posting them. Well, not all of them, but I've started posting the ones... I've started posting them in order, is what I'm trying to say, while I'm getting stuck in doing so. I've started releasing them in order, and it's been a long time coming, right? I promised these, a year ago? And they're just coming out now? Oh my gosh. Oh, I've kept them in early access for so long out of sheer laziness, but believe it or not, I've actually got someone helping me working on the thumbnails for all of the next ones that are to come out. I still need to edit episode 7. I've got a bunch of projects that are stacked one on top of another, just all up against each other that I've got to work on. I've got a commission that I'm working on, and I've got a big collab that I'm working on, and I have General Mallory waiting in the wings that has been waiting for an entire year to get done. Just a whole bunch of big and little stuff just crammed together. And amongst all of the work stuff is the, what is it that I'm doing is, IRL stuff, mostly. Just Red? Oh! In response to Guinevere. Plushy Guinevere says hi too and wants to know your favorite color or color. Emma says red. And hello, Fury. Very, very good to see you. What is it that I'm saying? What is it that I'm doing? Oh, I'm rambling. But rambling is what I'm supposed to be doing. I was talking about a bunch of stuff that I was working on, and a bunch of IRL stuff too. Mostly just stuff to support my big sister, but I've also decided to, take singing lessons, essentially. I want to be paying for singing lessons, essentially. I'm going to try to vet a couple of places and see if they're gonna be good for me, and hope for the best. Personally, I just really want to be better with my voice and to be a better singer. I want to sing for you, and I want to sing more consistently, if that makes any sense, as I sit here and drink my energy drinks that are so totally not good for my voice. But I drink them anyway because I love the taste, and life is far too short to not give in to some temptations. Also random, why did you retract your message? What did it say? Also, welcome Winter and Elvira, or Elvia? Sorry, I misread your name as something else completely. It has had its ups and downs. I'm doing something that is ill-advised by a lot of people, and is ill-advised by me specifically, but do as I say, not as I do. Stay on your meds, people. Sing, Cutiefox. Well, I might sing a little bit from time to time. Sing, my angel, spooky organ music. So Winter says that the family got a new kitten, and I think that's absolutely fantastic, Winter. Please tell me all about it. What kind of kitten is it? What color is it? Is it orange? Is it going to start causing chaos around the house? It might. It might if it's orange. Or they just might be like a silly idiot. That's just what I've also seen from orange cats on the internet. Or maybe this one will break stereotypes and be an absolute serious one. An absolutely serious cat for whom they go about their day seriously. Branham says, as a daily procrastinist, I find it admirable being able to finish and release projects at all. Nathan says, got a new computer. Congratulations! Violet says, I'm babysitting my sister's snake. Ooh, snakes are so cool. Snakes are amazing, in my personal view. I personally like snakes that have... I just like all kinds of snakes, including the really venomous ones, but I mostly like the non-venomous ones because, you know, I kind of like my life. Life may be crappy in certain spots, but I'm not giving up on it that easy. DM Foxy here says, headed home, hun. Maybe a little sweaty and stinky. My sense of smell is just absolutely crappy anyways, so I'm not gonna be able to smell you. Like all the hundreds of times you've come home. Oh, excuse me. Elvia says, wow, you sing so good, what the fuck? Well, I mean, I get jealous a lot of other people who do sing. Like Raph Scrap, for example. If you've watched her videos on YouTube, which you should, go and look at some of Raph Scrap's content. Holy goodness, she sings like an angel. And I feel, like, so inadequate when, like, I compare my singing voice to hers. And sure, my voice has a lot of aspects that are cool about it, but also there's just, like, a lot that I don't like about my own voice. And so I just sort of sit here and I stew over it. And I basically psych myself up to train more in singing. But there's always that voice at the back of my mind going, you'll never be like Raph Scrap. You'll never sing as good as her. And I'm like, I know, but I still want to try. So this is how sometimes combinations of attitudes like spite and longing and desire to succeed and to improve cause you to improve. It's not healthy. I know it's not healthy. I know that it's setting myself really unhealthy expectations. But unhealthy expectations is how I kind of improved my voice. I improved my voice after 4 years of struggle. Well, actually, it's been more than 4 years now. It's been like 6 years of struggle. But 4 years documented. 4 years bracketed, documented. Excuse me. Also, is it just me or is my voice like a little buzzy right now? I wonder if it's me. I wonder if I'm like got something with my voice right now. Also, hello, Throne. Welcome. I saw you pop up earlier. I apologize for not noticing sooner. Hi. It's very, very good to see you. Winter says it is a silver and black Siberian forest cat. Okay, I'm gonna look this up. What is a Siberian forest cat? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! This is so cute! Oh! Oh! It's adorable! Random says, basically I procrastinate a lot, so seeing people actually finish and release a project is admirable. Take all the time you need to cook, as long as it's not a commission past its deadline. I might need a couple of weeks to finish a $100 commission that someone commissioned me on. I can't tell you the details, and it will not be released on Patreon. Just to warn you, it is a private project for a specific individual who will never be named. I'm sorry. I am really sorry. I cannot show you this project. And before anyone asks if it's, like, gonna be super secret released on anything, I say I can't. I really, really can't. Out of personal choice. Violet says her name is Eden. Oh, like the Garden of Eden. Oh, I love that. Elvia says, how do you spell that? I do not brain. How do I spell what? I'm sorry, I completely lost my track of thought there. Oh, Raff Scrap. R-A-F-S-C-R-A-P. That's if you were looking for Raff Scrap. She does, like, covers, she writes her own songs, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe she writes her own songs from time to time. And she's, like, a phenomenal singer. The song that I was introduced to her channel with was Hey Little Songbird. When I wrote Goddess of Death for my channel, like 3 years ago, I was inspired by her music video. I was inspired by Hey Little Songbird, which is why the listener is entitled Songbird. Akira says, well, you already sing better than me, so that's a start. Oh, bull, Akira. You sing as good as me, if not better. Random says, that's crazy. Your voice, along with kindness, got you 9,000 followers that admire you. Something that I look at and I am just flustered at every single day, honest to goodness. Sometimes I wake up and think, oh my goodness. 9,000 people. Slowly climbing up to 9,500 people. Can you imagine a place that is filled with 9,500 people? It's enough to make you want to hide in your hoodie. Emma says, I think I may only be able to get stuff done through spite personally. For me, it's a combination of a spite, longing, conscious desire. It's kind of like how many people just choose to do martial arts and just practice that sometimes day in, day out. Taking breaks, of course, to make sure that they get some nice recuperation going. But it's also like how a lot of people, train their muscles every single day. It is a discipline. Akira says, I still have the one she gave me forever and a half ago. Saved it. Random says, look just like Buddy Holly. Weezer yours. Bishop to e3 to Weezer. What I said was a meaningless chess phrase, so don't go looking it up. You won't find anything coherent. Elvia says, me too, girly. I also have about 512 megabytes of mental RAM. Emma says, what? Elvia says, oh, thank you. Violet says, If you can have any mythical creature as a pet, what would it be? Now that is a very interesting sort of question. I mean, I suppose you would take one look at my VTuber avatar and say Kitsune? No. Kitsune are sentient beings anyways. I would not want to have one as a pet, and I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. My character isn't really based off of a Kitsune anyway. It's based off of, like... Well... It's based a little bit on Alice in Wonderland, so... I don't really know what sort of mythical creature I would want as a pet. I would need to research more mythical creatures. That is such an interesting thing to think about. I think a werewolf might be interesting, but then again there's implications with that too. Huh. I honest to goodness don't know. I honest to goodness do not know. Emma says Cutiefox convention when? Imagine if I could just go to a convention as me. Like, just get all decked out in a couple of, like, bodysuits to hide any recognizable facial features or tattoos. Get an anime mask that is just my face. Wear a red wig and fox ears and a red fox tail with the outfit. Stars, that had to be actually incredibly, like, hard to wear in convention, like, temperatures. Like, the heat alone would kill me. That and there's just, like, a tiny issue with my, like, reaction to large crowds. I can handle... I can freak out a little bit, like, just a little bit, when there's, like, 9,500 people on my computer screen that are just looking at my channel. You know, just like 9,500 people who regularly pop on my channel and just say, oh, hi, I know you. I know your content. You are Cutiefox ASMR. I'd be like, okay. And that's just me on my regular day-to-day looking at my computer screen. Take that. And just, put them in a room with me. Not all, like, not all like 900 and 500-ish subscribers. Not even that. Just, like, pick 25 people. 30 tops. And I'd already be sweating. And, like, dealing with the noise from the chatter. Not to mention if they were all just, like, quiet and looking at me as I'm sitting in front of a microphone. Like, what would I even do? I would just be sitting there and I would be like... Hello? You know, just sort of lean into the microphone that they've got on the table and I'd go, hello? And stars, imagine if they were to say anything, let alone cheer. If they were to say anything, I think I would be, like, incredibly, like, flustered. I am not that social of a person beyond the, computer screen. I sometimes reach out to, like, friends, and I like having conversations with people if they are, like, small groups of people. And I especially love one-on-one conversations. But groups of people, I just can't handle as well. The environment is extremely uncontrolled. Anything could literally happen. And, yeah, when something does happen that I'm not, like, prepared for, I just run out of my list of short responses to, like, deal with that situation. I'm realizing really quickly how neurodivergent I actually am in this moment. How are people supposed to deal with crowds again? How are people supposed to act like people? Yeah, I suppose it isn't normal to be completely flustered when in a room full of, like, 15 people and not want to claw yourself out of your own skin. Seriously, I was at LA a couple of weeks ago, I believe. If I'm remembering this correctly, I think it was at the very beginning of May. I was in LA very, very, like, briefly. I think it was only over the course of a couple of days when I was in LA for a particular event. I can't tell you what the event was, just in case people who were there recognize me. If I tend to dress slightly noticeable, easily enough to blend into a background, but also noticeable enough that if you were to look for me, I would stand out, so I tend to dress like a witch. With a big gray witch's hat, so if you know, you know. Anyways, it was a big event that lasted like a couple of days, and I was in LA for it. I was staying at an Airbnb, the first and only time I've ever been in an Airbnb. A situation that I would not like quickly repeat. I got there extremely late, did not do the usual checks, but then again, people were already there and everyone was fine so far as I know, so there was no reason to do the usual checks. So we were exhausted and we just collapsed into beds at like 10 in the afternoon, in the evening, at night. So yeah, we got there late after a 5-hour drive, so that sucked. First day of events was basically, I had to sit on an extremely hard surface, to sit down. I stayed there for hours and had a hypoglycemic attack, followed by such an anxiety attack that I just wanted to sink through the entire floor. People were worried about me throughout the entire thing, and the only thing I could think of in that moment was, holy crap, I'm drawing people's attention away from the thing that they should be paying attention to. I feel so fluffing selfish. Despite the fact that I was, like, sitting on the actual concrete outside afterwards and starting to absolutely disassociate. And I hadn't had, like, any food during the event beforehand, and only slightly afterwards. And then I got, like, a bunch of food in me afterwards, so I got a little better, but, it was not a good day for me, and that only compounded the day afterwards when the main event started. Think that previous experience of me being trapped in this one room full of people, and multiply it by a factor of 5, at least. It was a big gym, full of people. Like, people's families were there, parents, siblings, friends were there, as well as the participants themselves that were doing this event. And there was just me, dressed in my witch's hat. And I was absolutely fucking miserable during the entire experience. I wanted to focus on the event as much as my friends were. I wanted to be there to support my big sister, who was there, who did participate in this event. 5 minutes in after I had arrived, and I had already had enough. I knew that I was having enough. My psychology had completely checked out of the building. I was dissociating heavily. I was just staring at a wall for like a good hour. An hour had gone by, and I had just not noticed much of it beyond staring at a wall, to the point where if I just shifted my eyes, the imprint of the wall sort of stayed in my vision for a half second longer. That was how long I was, like, staring at that wall. Not good. Definitely not good for the mental health. So, being trapped in an uncomfortable environment where you're not allowed to leave easily, it causes one to dissociate very, very easily, in my experience. At least to my experience being in this particular venue. So yes, my friends were there. Akira's friends were there as well. the experience was... I'll get back to that in a little bit, but yes, my friends were there. The Airbnb was nice. The entire thing, the entire trip, will not do that again. I will not do big events like that again. I'll only go to cons if I am able to take breaks and I can leave before the crowds really start piling in. Or I can just stay at the fringes and only dart in if I see something I really like and then dart back out again, but I won't do anything, like, too big. I won't walk up to, like, an actor and shake their hand unless it's, like, someone that I personally, like, had, like, a connection with their work. Like, a big one. Yeah, I won't do big events like that again. I can't. It was psychologically damaging. In the sense that it was just a slog. A big slog that I got nothing out of. Because the event wasn't something I was interested in. The only reason I was there was to support my family and my friends who were participating in this event. Beyond the support of them, the subject matter held very little for me to latch onto. Very little that I enjoyed. If it were like a movie theater, I might have been able to handle it a little better because then I would be sitting on something that would be like a little bit more comfortable. My attention would be readily grabbed by something, and most of the background chatter would just die out as I was paying attention to a thing that was not expecting me to, like, interact with it. But it felt like I was, like, expected to interact with this. Does that make any sense? I felt like I was expected to interact with this on a social level, that I just did not know how to interact with it. And I was just stuck at the controls of my brain going, there's absolutely little I can do in this situation except find an exit portal of some kind. And I eventually got that. I think everyone was in that event, more or less, for around 5-ish hours or so. 5-ish, if I'm remembering correctly. So think about the entire time me and Akira drove out to that event for. That was about as long as they stayed there. I dipped early. 3 hours in, I was gone. I went back home with a friend to the Airbnb so that I could get some rest. We got some ice cream before we went back. And let me tell you, the ice cream is the one thing that I can remember from the event. Only 2 things come to mind when we were at the event. The onigiri and the ice cream. Those were literally the only things I remember from that day. Elvia says, what if we were all social yappers? I'm the social yapper online. As said previously, getting me in a big room that I cannot easily leave, surrounded by a crowd of people, is not a good way to, like, it just does not make me feel comfortable. It makes me feel trapped very quickly. Especially if they're all looking at me and want something from me. And are just all asking questions at the same time, or are lobbying a big social ask. Ugh. It gets complicated quickly. It gets really complicated quickly. Social conventions sometimes confuse me. And when I get confused, I glitch. And when I glitch, people are staring at a blank facade of a face going, ah! Huh. Winter says 12,000 subs before end of year. Calling it now. Oh no, I don't think I'm getting like 9,000 subs before... Did I really say 9,000 instead of 12,000? I already have 9,000. Where's my brain going today? I don't think I'll have 12,000 before the end of the year. I don't think that is going to happen. Mary says that's because you're introverted like me, Nico. A little. Introversion... yeah, it makes sense a little for me. Violet says, the Other Father song and Sally's song is stuck in my head. I memorized the Other Father song. I memorized it like ages ago. I really like singing it from time to time. Minor hydration. Making up a song about Coraline. She's a peach, she's a doll, she's a pal of mine. She's as cute as a button in the eyes of everyone who ever laid their eyes on Coraline. When she comes around exploring, Mom and I will never ever make it boring. Our eyes will be on Coraline. Who's hungry? Raise your hand. Oh. At this point, I need to figure out someone who to commission to just put button eyes on the character, as well as do a bunch of other body horror stuff. Also, you don't just have 9,000. You have over 9,000! Hello, Jade Lunaire. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, Slimionor. Jade says, hey, Queen. Love your writing and voice acting. Thank you so very much. Hannah says, not me coming in here after just learned that apparently there is a fluffing lipstick you could buy for $14 million that came with a fluffing concierge service. Rich people, please. We can think of 14 million better things to do with your money. One for every dollar. MSS had temporarily replaced with the spinny loading thing. I hate to tell you this, but that thing is called a throbber. Don't believe me? Look up loading symbol called what? Yes. Yes, it is called a throbber. Yes, I hate it too. You're welcome. Yes, it is called that. Yes, Hannah, it is called that. Violet says, the first time I watched it when I was younger, I had a nightmare about the other mother. Soon you'll see things our way. And we aren't worried at all. Soon you'll see things our way. Hannah says, I mean, after back-to-back random what the fluff facts like that, I'm at least no longer fluffing depressed anymore. I'm just dumbfounded. Yeah. Sometimes I just don't feel dumbfounded. Sometimes I feel a depressed sort of, oh, well, this is happening now. It feels like day after day the world is trying to turn me into Delphi. Domestic engineering logistics, personal habitation intelligence. Hannah says, I remember watching Coraline and wondering who wouldn't want to stay with the other mother. That probably should have been a sign that I needed way more from therapy. For you, our little doll. Black is tradition, but if you would prefer pink, or vermilion, or chartreuse, though you may make me jealous. Oh, but we need a yes if you want to stay here. It's your decision, darling. We only want what's best for you. Bed? Of course. I'd be happy to tuck you in. Also, hi, Wolf. It's very good to see you. Also, I apologize about the shrieking laughter after I told you what it was called. I've gotten into the habit of letting out extremely loud, maniacal laughters that do not sound like normal laughs. Also, it's okay, Kara. I was happy to support you, but yes, I will not be doing that again. Nothing akin to it again. Violet says, no, I won't let you sew buttons in my eyes. We'll get you a lifetime supply of plushies. Do they come in purple? Thank you so very much, Emma. I do the best I can. Wolf says, is it bad I want to know the process? The process of what, Wolf? Hannah says, okay, so you're telling me that I will be treated sweetly and get actual love and affection, and all I have to do is let you sew buttons on my eyes? Okay, so where do I sign again? Well, you see, Cinema Therapy has this lovely video that perfectly encapsulates some of my feelings about it. They do all of these lovely things for you. They give you X and Y and Z and a whole bunch of other things that you didn't ask for but are perfectly suited to your tastes. And at some point you have to ask yourself, why? And at some point, eventually, they're going to ask you to do something that you don't want to do. And what happens when you say no? Because that's how, like, a lot of abusive relationships start. It doesn't start off with you being slapped across the face, although that is how sometimes it can start. But a lot of the times, it starts with the sweetest words. It starts with the sweetest gestures. It starts even with a little bit of concession, here and there. And then it just quickly becomes too much. So many gifts lobbed with so many praises and so much things that are contingent upon you acting a certain way around them. Minor deviations are quickly readjusted, or there's this icy feeling that you get in the pit of your stomach. And then eventually there will come a time where they're just going to ask you to do something that you don't want to do. And then it all explodes. And if you are in a very bad situation, you can quickly find that you're trapped there, unable to make yourself disentangled. It can be like you stuck your hand into a particular box to get like a cup of water or something, and then you realize that something's trapped around your wrist now, and if you try to pull your wrist back, even without the cup, just getting your hand back could skin it off. That's what it feels like. And then just, it's a horrible situation to be in. So yeah, anytime someone is like a little bit too sweet for you, anytime someone acts just like, just perfect enough, you have to really keep it in the back of your mind at all times. What happens when I say no? What happens when they ask me to do something I'm not comfortable with? And I say no. I like writing yanderes. I really love writing yanderes. They are beautiful, insane characters. But that's all they are, is characters. They're fictional. You can pause the video. You can close YouTube. You can watch other videos. You can do what you want. You can completely unsubscribe from my channel, and you can just go and watch other people's stuff. The sky's the limit for how far you can distance yourself from my content, if that is your wish. You're completely free to do that, and that's the beautiful part about it. I would feel a little bit sad if you were to go and no longer found enjoyment in my work, but ultimately, that's your choice. And it is a wonderful thing that it is your choice that you're free to make. It's the beautiful part about all of this, because actual yanderes aren't actually called yanderes. It is abuse. They are abusive people, not yandere people. People who actually keep people imprisoned on the basis of love or otherwise is not actual love. It is abuse. It needs to be called out wherever it is seen. And it is an active nightmare for so many people. There was a situation I was in. Not a one-to-one analog from any of my characters, obviously. But I was in a similar situation. It was not bad. It was a minor sort of bad. The sort of bad that can skate on by for just another day, and just another day, and just another day. It's that slow burn, emotional pain that scours you after years, after decades. And it wasn't like there weren't any good days too. There were wonderful days, absolutely beautiful days even, that I could remember fondly, and sometimes still do. But the good doesn't counteract the bad, and the good can be so easily forgotten amongst the torrent of bad that surrounds it. Especially if the bad immediately follows it, then the good is immediately poisoned. And all you remember is the bad. For 23 years, that was my existence. One of the good aspects to it is the very last years, I had set up a YouTube channel and was actually, like, doing a lot of my own work that took me out of my own reality for a while. And I had read, like, a whole bunch of other fiction beforehand, and I experienced different worlds through those books. I'm glad for that. I was privileged enough to have that. I was in a place where I could actually read books. How many people out there just weren't able to read books because they weren't available to them? I was able to learn about the outside world. I was able to expand my horizons instead of being trapped inside one house all the time. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was not the best situation in the world. And I dare say that it was abusive in a lot of ways. For myself, and for everyone around me. I wasn't like a ray of sunshine either. I did cause like a lot of harm in this situation. I was a product of the circumstances that created me. And I do take responsibility for my actions, for what I did, for what I chose to do in that situation. Once I got out of there, I started learning the sort of person that I wanted to be. And I could only actively pursue who I wanted to be once I was free. Once I was out under the shadow of all of the horrible resentments and fury and the horrible treatments from underneath that roof. Only when I was like gone and actually able to contend with living by myself, supporting myself. It was only after I got free that I could actually start figuring myself out. It's been 3 years since I left. 3 whole years since my horizons expanded completely and the shackles were gone. It's been, I think, over a year since I legally changed my name away from my blood parents. I do not share a blood name with them. I do not share a legal name with them. I am well and truly free. And it tastes so sweet. It tastes so fluffing sweet right now, you have no idea. If it tastes as sweet for me, imagine how sweet it tastes for other people who are caught in bad situations who inevitably get free. For some, it tastes even sweeter. For some, though, it doesn't really have that same sweet taste. Sometimes it's incredibly bitter. Sometimes you just can't let go of the resentments or any of the horrible fears, the traumas that have built up in you over those long years when you were under that roof, dealing with that situation. It's hard, but gets better. It always gets better. You just gotta live till the next day. You just gotta keep at that next day and not give up. There were many days I wanted to, many days I wanted to give up. Strangely, though, I never could give up. A lot of times I would call myself a coward, clinging to life. I am still thinking of myself as incredibly selfish and cowardly. I do want to live. There's just so much interesting stuff that could happen. And I want to be there to see it, you know? These days, I've got a bit of a brighter outlook on things. I'm good. I feel a lot better. Thank you for allowing me that rant, that ramble. Anna says 25 years of my life was just the cycle and repeat from anywhere from just 2 to several people. Sometimes I still don't know if I can even exist in a healthy relationship, but I try to, for my partners. In better news, at least, guess who finally gotten a referral to a psychiatrist and is actually going to be getting bipolar meds hopefully in the next 3 weeks or so. Yeah, I've got a new family name picked out for me. Very goth, very demon-coded. Oddly enough, only slightly different from my birth family's name, but that's just a coincidence. If only I could afford to file the legal documents for the name change now. In Arizona, They're fairly cheap. At least to my remembrance. At least they were cheap in comparison to everything else. Very time-consuming, though. I missed out on the election. Not that it mattered. Still feel bitter about the election, honestly. Still feel bitter. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I was very egotistical when I chose my new name and made it legal. And why I fought so hard to make it legal. I was very egotistical with it. I am my new legal name. First and last of it. Nothing that I do brings my blood mother or my blood father any honor. Any honor at all. It is all mine. I do it for me and for my new family that I carve with my own hands. If that ain't empowering, I don't know what is. Emma says, the worst part, I think, is the doubts. What if I was the problem and all that? Yeah. It doesn't go away. Sometimes I'll think that I was the problem. And the devil's advocate on my shoulder simply goes, so what if you were? At least in part, you were the problem. You can pinpoint a few parts in which you were the problem. However, you being a part of the problem doesn't make you the problem. It just means that you had a hand in some of the negativity. It just means that you acknowledge that, and you work to better yourself on that. And you never stop improving. Oh, you're not going to be Nicole Drake? Bummer. Well, hey, I mean, you could always change your name to mine. Drake is a really, really cool last name, too. I mean, there's Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series. Nathan Drake is a legend. Anna says it's taken all my partners and multiple therapists telling me repeatedly that their standards for me were impossible to meet, that I've been able to cope. Hannah says, yep, the doubt and thinking that maybe, just maybe, there was something you could have done to please them enough to not hurt you. It's hard to manage. Indeed. Indeed. There was a lot that I felt that I could have done to at least soothed some of the horrible feelings that were under that roof. What if I had just not stolen that Monster Energy drink that one time? Literally, the only time I did that. And what I come back to thinking is just, it wasn't just that one Monster Energy drink. He was just waiting for an excuse to blow up in such a fashion at someone, at anyone, and it just so happened to be me. And I was the one that had to endure the months of the ignoring and the treating as if I don't exist until forced to by an authority figure. Seriously. My blood uncle would have gone months without acknowledging my existence and purposefully treating me like a piece of furniture or the wall, unless told to by his sister. All because I stole a $4 energy drink, which might not have been like $4 at the time. It could have been even cheaper. I just don't remember. And it was a Monster Energy drink that I quickly replaced, that I fessed up to when he asked the first time, instead of lying about it. Because, yeah, I snatched it up because it was a sugary drink and I was a teen at the time. Or I was an adult. I think I was an adult at the time. Yeah, I think I might have been an adult at the time, actually. Might have been wrong. I still acknowledge that me taking the Monster Energy drink was a wrong thing, by the way. It was his. But I fessed up to it. And it was a minor thing to steal. It wasn't as if I stole some priceless artifact that he managed to secure through all the trials and tribulations of Nathan Drake, and then went and pawned it for like 12 bucks at the local pawn shop. That I would understand the fury. That I would understand the ignoring for a long time. Yeah, I would have understood that. Especially if I couldn't get the artifact back afterwards and it had been sold for like several thousands of dollars to some private fuck-all collector on another country. But it was an energy drink. Just one of billions that could have been easily replaced. And he sought to treat me like a demon for it. Speaks more volumes about him than it does me. And I came very quickly to the realization that, yeah, I was at fault for it. But the way he treated me wasn't fair. It would never be fair. On the off chance that he's watching this stream for whatever reason, you're an asshole. I hope you know that. You are a emotionally unintelligent jerk. And I do not forgive you for that treatment. I do not forgive you now, and I will never forgive you. Don't know where that seriousness came from, actually. I apologize for that. That was purely addressed to him on the off chance that he watches this random stream of a cartoon fox on the internet, which he won't take seriously. Rosa Shadow says, I've been in a situation with my birth mother. I am unable to escape and got better for a short time. Yet it has all come back and haunts me. Your videos do help a lot, so I thank you for what you do. I'm glad that my content can do that for you. Thank you. I've been confronted with a couple of people who have told me that my work has saved them. That has made them feel better, that it has helped them escape from a lot of crushing reality around them, and it always warms my heart to hear. It really does push me to continue. I'm glad that my work does this for you. It was posited to me that I should express my feelings toward the people who hurt me. Yeah, just like express my feelings about them to them. Not for like any of their reactions, and it's not even for them. But so that I will get the psychological knowledge of, I finally said this to them. I finally let them have it, so to speak. And I think that that's actually incredibly good advice, because it always feels so much lighter when I think that I've made my point to them. I suppose that's one of the reasons why I had that slight serious segment there where I just went off on an illusory blood uncle. Just getting your thoughts down, making them concise, and then just saying them. Not expecting anything, not a response. Just saying them to the person so that you could finally let it all go. And yeah, I feel a lot better after saying what I did. Hannah says, okay, so something I've been mulling over for a while now, having spent so much of my life being called a demon in derogatory way for either gender identity, sexuality, or something else. And then when I embrace it, get into the occult and stuff, those same people get mad at me for embracing it. They want to eat their cake and have it too. Wolf says, every time I get a notification of one of your videos, it makes my day. I'm glad. Truly. You know, something happened recently that I'm still thinking about. I am polyamorous. I am in a relationship with multiple people, basically. We all talk. We talk heavily about this. It's something that requires communication. And one of my members recently broke up with me. And what strikes me about it is how peaceful it was, how calm it was, and how we were able to reason through it, essentially. To agree with one another that it just was time. That they should find something that makes them feel truly happy. My feelings about them haven't changed. I will adore them forever. And I'm insanely proud of them for coming to me after going through this moment of introspection with themselves that no doubt scared them absolutely shitless. I'm proud of them for being able to just look at it objectively and say, this doesn't make me happy anymore, and I'm not comfortable staying, so I'm going to go, and I'm going to tell her on VC, of all places, that they're going to go. So, if they're watching this, I'm still proud of you. I know I said so during the call, but I am incredibly proud of you. And, yeah, I think that sums it up, basically. I'm proud of them. I think afterwards we simply talked shop, and then had a couple of jokes and laughs and a couple of tears shared between us, because it's a breakup. Of course there's gonna be tears. Sorry, I just took a moment to reflect, to pause, and just smile. I think about a lot of things, thinking about this moment in particular. To just go through my life, working through all of my issues, watching relationships between people fall apart back at the Callie house, watching the dysfunction between family members, bringing a lot of that same dysfunction into past relationships, constantly running away, less and less over the years as I find myself. And I believe today, in this moment, it all culminated in this one peaceful transition from a relationship of lovers to a relationship of friends, where I didn't cut and run, where I wasn't frightened out of my wits, where we could just sit and have an honest conversation with one another. That was not just peaceful, but openly friendly. I smile at it. And a lot of my blood mother's words echo in my ears, how I was the one that brought the negativity everywhere. That I was the one who, like, overshadowed people a lot of the time. And now I only see a part of her words as being true. I only did that. I only did a part of that, I mean. I only brought a part of the negativity to that party. And I only ever brought that part because I didn't know otherwise. It was what I had learned from the people around me. And when I left, I was able to finally learn how to do it better. And I learned how to do it better in spite of them. So I think big teaching moment with a big payoff lesson. Sorry, I just had to smirk at that. It feels so poetic in a lot of ways. Hey, Trainmaster. Hey, Branwen. It's been a while. Glad to see you again. Hannah says, like, I feel to see what's so bad about demons, realistically speaking. Going off myth and legend, demons are wonderful creatures. They thrive in a world in which they are viewed as untouchables. They don't even make people do bad things. Every deal they make requires consent on both sides. They offer a boost when there's no other options. In a lot of mythos, they are a corrupting influence. So just, keep in mind. It is very good to see you as well. Anyways, thank you for listening to me being, like, all pretentious and stuff about past experiences and how they've helped shape me into being a kinder person. At least I think. Am I being a kinder person these days? Huh. Not to bring down the mood or anything, but have I been acting nicer these days? Emma says signature look of superiority. Hello, Fizz. Hope everyone is staying hydrated and cozy tonight. I can't stay long, but hugs to everyone who needs one. Stay safe, stay chaotic, Fizz, over and out. Cheerio. Hannah says corrupting influence, again, the doctrine of whatever religion tells the story. More often than not, they aren't even pushing much. They're just exposing what a person would do for their desires. Thank you so much, Emma. I truly appreciate it. Anyways, another thing I was going to ramble on about. 1 hour and 30 minutes into my stream, essentially. I basically cut out all of my psych meds. Don't try this at home, kiddos. Stay on the meds you've been prescribed by your doctors. I'm gonna be talking to my doctors about this afterwards, as a matter of fact. I've got an appointment coming up in a few days. Want to talk to them about this because I think that I was on meds simply to, like, sedate me in a way. And honest to goodness, I can already tell you that I feel markedly better after being off of Wellbutrin. After suffering through a lot of the withdrawal symptoms. Seriously, the withdrawal symptoms are no joke. They offer all of the smoke. And if you are being prescribed medication, please continue taking it. This isn't a stop taking your medications, they're poisoning you sort of situation. No. You need to keep taking those. I decided to cut them from my system as an experiment because I'd been on them for so many years, like decades at this point. And I was only ever on them because my blood mother recommended them. And I don't know about, I don't know about you, but I don't necessarily trust my blood mother at this point about much. So I decided to cut them from my diet to basically see how it is that I live my day-to-day life without it. Do I function better? Or do I just not function as well? So that, and my sertraline, I am only on my HRT right now. And, you know, I think I'm actually doing pretty good. You know, I feel okay. I feel more talkative. I don't feel quite as exhausted. I don't feel as distracted as I used to. Not to say that they were the 100% deciding factor in making me feel distracted all the time. Oh no. But I feel a little bit more focused. I feel like I can string together more than a single thought. And it leads me to think, okay, tinfoil hat moment. What if, gosh, Stephanopoulos. Stephen Hawking. Those names popping into my head. What if my blood mother... Yeah, tinfoil hat moment. What if my blood mother was keeping me on this one particular medication to keep me unfocused? To keep me off balance, essentially. That is a huge tinfoil hat moment. And I don't think that it is, like, 100% the truth. I think she did want me medicated. And I did think that she wanted me to be medicated for a positive reason, but tinfoil hat me is saying, no, what if she was trying to keep you off balance? To keep you dependent so that you wouldn't question her? Hello, Spyro. It's good to see you. Brenwan says, yeah, no, I wasn't able to get my antidepressants for a week. Never again. Oof. I'm so sorry. Hannah says, I mean, my mom put me on Adderall as a kid just to keep me in line, and only let me go off of it when the doctor said, your kid isn't eating enough, and if this keeps up, they will die in like a month. Hannah says, it's not unheard of for parents to forcibly medicate their kids for one reason or another that doesn't have the kid's benefit in mind at all. Honest to goodness, I cannot remember for the life of me why I got on the medication. I have an inkling that it was for my ADHD. I do not remember. It has been a decade, at least, since I got put on this medication. I do not remember. And if I cannot remember why I'm on the medication in the first place, why am I taking it again? Like, the sertraline, I can understand. Depression is no joke. But the Wellbutrin, I don't know why I'm taking it. Especially when it feels like I am markedly more focused now. And when I feel like I can string together a couple of coherent thoughts. Again, this isn't me saying that you should go off of your meds, oh, spooky. No, your medications, once prescribed, are very important, especially if you know what they are prescribed for. Go and take your meds if you haven't already, if it is their scheduled time to be taken. And please, stay hydrated, always. Brenwan says, I'm fine now, but my medications help me a lot. But I was the one who went and got them. No parental units involved. Emma says, mostly, in my experience, abusers tend to do shit for selfish reasons. Or like adults in general towards kids. Anna says, this could be a chance for you and your doctor to figure out what meds you actually need. And especially nowadays with some of the newer drugs. Winter says, I should probably be put on meds, but I don't got enough money for that right now, so we just trying to vibe through it. Emma says, but yeah, definitely worth reviewing with your doctor to see about if a change would be helpful. Indeed, indeed. I am doing something extremely, risky myself. This is a risk that I have taken. It is a calculated one on my part, but I'm not exactly the best at math. I'm not a mathematician, and the risks that I take are oftentimes not guaranteed to work. So stay on your meds, people. Stay on your meds. You need to. You need to stay on your medication. Hannah says also, like, I genuinely think I'm the only one who doesn't see weight gain from bipolar antidepressants, antipsychotics for me as a negative. Like, I'm skin and bone. Give me some squish. Please. You too, Hannah? You too? I want squish too. I am a beanpole. Seriously. I am like 6 foot and skinny. The only, like, definition I've got is around the waist and hips, where I am just skinny. And it just flares out a little bit. I don't even got that much bust. The bust that I have on my VTuber model is a lot more than what I've got on me. And I don't know, I'm just kind of considering getting upgrades. Because, you know... Emma says, but, what was I saying? Uh-oh. Yeah, usually it's something like, my kid's being hyper and it's annoying, clearly something's wrong with them, give them something to fix it. Winter says, I have squish. Yes, you have squish, Winter. Definitely not envious at all. Anyway, Emma says, if I remember correctly, Ritalin was overprescribed back in the day for similar reasons, or maybe it was a different med, I forget. Hannah says, oh, I very much consider these upgrades you're alluding to myself. Emma says, squish. Aw. Yeah, one of my big things is, potentially getting a loan at some point for upgrades. Because, you know... Upgrades, people. Upgrades. Brenwin says, right, Wellbutrin is bupropion, an MAO, monoamine oxidase inhibitor, antidepressant. Yeah, I went through a bunch of different antidepressants before I got on my current one that works for me. So I was basically on an antidepressant, and then I stacked on top of it another antidepressant, and I was wondering why I was so sleepy. Both medications had warning could make you drowsy or dizzy, and I was complaining of being drowsy or dizzy a lot. And now I don't feel as drowsy or as dizzy, and I can actually think straight. I know. Imagine there was a slush fund. Imagine there was like a big fund that trans girls who have the desire for the squish could reach into and get some for the squish. Upgrades, people, upgrades. Anyway, I should probably turn the music back on, if it isn't on already. It's on. I put it back on as soon as I was done singing their father's song. Hannah says, why the fluff is medical care, especially gender-affirming healthcare, so fluffing expensive? I can answer that question. It's because Republican lobbyists want it to be super expensive. Just in general, because they want to bleed the average American dry for simple procedures, and also because they just fluffing hate trans people. They hate trans people and would rather see them in a ditch, rather than, you know, thriving in our own elements. Like, seriously. I'm just gonna go over to... Countering Domestic Terrorism Strategy 2026 by the White House. So it's the United States Counterterrorism Strategy by the White House, a PDF that is freely available for you to look up. If you scroll down to page 5, currently we face 3 major types of terror groups: narco-terrorists and transnational gangs, legacy Islamist terrorists, violent left-wing extremists, including anarchists, and anti-fascists. This is the White House saying, if you don't like fascism, you are a terrorist. Seriously, they labeled 3 terror groups and labeled anti-fascists as part of a terror group. Who do we call who are part of terror groups? Terrorists. Congratulations, my fellow terrorists. We are now among one of, like, these groups that are labeled as such. Isn't that just fucking weird? Well, actually, no, it's not fluffing weird. It's fucking depressing. Brenwan says, and you could pry my public healthcare from my cold, dead fingers. Also, yeah, anyone who's, like, any way confused about who I am and what I advocate for, I am a transgender leftist. I identify as a woman. My pronouns are she and her. I advocate for autonomy, basically, for everyone to be able to do with their own bodies what they wish, including getting abortions if that is what they desire and is medically recommended, essentially. Like, in all cases, down from the woman wanting in the first several months of the fetus's existence, either as medical necessity or personal choice, to just get rid of it. That's what I'm arguing for. I'm also arguing for, basically access to puberty blockers to those who request them, because that is the person's autonomy we're talking about. It cannot be foisted upon people who do not ask for them. It can not be, withheld from people who are asking for them. I would like for trans women to be allowed in all sports. I would abolish, there to being any sort of gendered sports at all, because I think that if we were to see a cis woman boxing an actual, fluff. What is it that I'm trying to think of here? If we were to see a cis woman getting into a brawl with a trans or cisgendered male in a ring, I think that we would, more times than we wouldn't, see the cis woman come out on top. And if a cis woman can beat a cis man, there's no argument that a trans woman would not fare well in any circumstance, in any ring, at all. The only reason we've got these gendered sports at all, really, is just like this sexist thing that's been going on for a while. And it's only because women were showing up men in sports. Seriously. Women outperform men sometimes. It's not that fluffing hard. Seriously, you want to have an actual fair competition? Mix the sports. Exactly, Hannah. Fun fact, Olympic shooting was segregated by gender after the first time a woman won gold in skeet shooting. Hello, BMD. Welcome! Welcome, welcome. Very, very good to see you. I am doing the very, very best that I can. How are you doing? Also, I hope that it's like in a boxing match that has like boxing gloves and, otherwise protective gear instead of like actual physical harm, because yikes. Hello, Michael Roy. Welcome. Excellent, click live and wander to the comments. Je suis confused. Have a pleasant day/night, everyone. Okay, bye! Says, I'm doing alright. Going to meet up with my best friend and maybe a new friend and her girlie. Sparrow says, I still like to keep weight class in contact sports. 300-pound difference in muscles is more impactful than was in the pants, methinks. I agree with you, Sparrow. Weight class is more impactful than gender. Gender being nebulous means that even in the cases of cisgendered people, you're going to have a lot of variation. Hence why I say that gendered sports don't fucking matter, but weight classes do. Brandon says maybe not boxing, bare knuckles safer because people break their own hands. Huh? Hannah says, sadly with boxing and other combat sports, even with head protection, TBI and concussions are still very easily a possibility. Yeah, I'm side-eyeing the statistics for concussions in the NFL. Also, BMD, if you're still here, I'm taking a look at your channel. I love the tank profile picture, by the way. So you are a fellow VTuber as well, I think? Are you a fellow VTuber yourself? Read your bio. Okay, I'll read your bio. Well, I mean, reading your bio doesn't automatically tell me that you aren't a VTuber. Some people don't openly state that they're a VTuber on their profiles. Yo, Slate. BMD says, I'm a clipper, but true. I am not a VTuber. I see. I see. Brownwood says boxing gloves mean you can hit harder without breaking your hands. Why? Okay, these two statements that you're making, Brenwyn, are contradicting each other. You're saying that bare knuckle is safer because people break their own hands. And that boxing gloves means that you can hit harder without breaking your hands. So, are you saying that bare knuckle isn't safer? BMD says need to start clipping more. Have been slacking. I see. Random says, do you have a favorite haircut? Pixie cut? Wolf cut? I like my hair long, so I like stuff that's like around my shoulder length. Sometimes I like it around my chin's height, because sometimes I like having my hair easier managed. Slide says, just came by to stop by and say hi. Must go edit stuff. Go edit stuff. Hannah says, honestly, one of the reasons I love motorsports so much is that a lot of the issues that people drag in for other sports about cis versus trans women don't matter. But I'll bet you, within a week, someone will be suggesting that trans women have an advantage in, like, drag races. Spar says is in theory safer, since as the theory goes, people hit less hard and not in the head when bare knuckling, but that is debated, and I doubt that it is. Thank you so very much, Rosa Shadow. Hannah says, oh, people have tried before. As in people who don't even watch motorsports outside of the Cars movies. Anyone who knows jack stuff about motorsports hears them and goes, you're full of shit. I love that flavor. Has a lovely tang to it. BMD says, what flavor? Of what? Emma says, it's always funny to hear about the list of things we're banned from, like too strong for contact sports, too fast for racing or swimming, too good reflexes for gaming tournaments. Oh, it's not that we are banned from, although, yeah, by functionality we're banned from them. It's that we are supposed to play by what our birth certificate is supposed to say. You know, just going against what biology and sociology has to say about it. Too smart for chess, too pretty for beauty pageants. BMD says, you said you liked a flavor, because it was tangy. Well, I mean, I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to give them free advertising. Simple as that. Not that I would give them advertising if they paid for it. So, BetterHelp or GamerSups, get fucked. I only contend with money where I can. I only acquire it as a means of necessity in order to continue surviving. I do not agree with capitalism. I think that is an absolutely shite system that needs a complete overhaul. Because it's just ripe for bloody exploitation. And the powers that be don't want us to try to fix the system because they love the status quo. So fuck them. Emma says, true, the double jump is an unfair advantage. Yeah, we can double jump. We can double jump. Yeah. And we've got laser vision. And the fox girls can hypnotize you with the tails. I hate boys' clubs. I hate boys' clubs. Seriously. Just another thing I hate about manhood. No wonder I quit being a guy. I quit being a guy because I hated being a guy. But just listening about boys' clubs just makes me never want to return to the idea ever again. Beyond this dysphoria. Beyond the euphoria that I have as being presented as a woman. As being treated as such. As a lady of distinction. I love being treated as a lady of distinction. I believe that it suits me, doesn't it? Hannah says, yeah, you don't have to agree with capitalism, but like, no matter what, we have to live in it, so we're stuck having to play the game regardless. Yeah. There are some days, however, where I choose to be kind in complete disregard to the rules set by capitalism. Sometimes I, you know, feed a homeless person. give them water and sometimes something sweet. Because I'm not a fluffing monster. Random Internet says, is it me or do you sound kind of sound Irish when you're rightfully insulting capitalism? Well, sometimes I am towards a Scottish accent, but then there's at times when I go into Irish. Just a wee bit. That's the official line of the church. There is a, I think, Irish character from... Fluff, what's the series' name? Blue Eye Samurai? Yeah. I found the quote that I'm looking at, but I think the character's name's Fowler. Yeah, the source says... Yeah, source says Fowler. And I love the quote because it is simultaneously incredibly shocking, disgusting, and in a tiny way understandable. And the quote goes something akin to, "My country's history is one of manufactured suffering. I was a boy when the Tudors burned any food the rebels under O'Neill might think to eat. We starved, everyone starved, mouths on the dead stained green from chewing nettles. You get resourceful in a famine. My parents died early, left me and my sister catching rats. The rats ran out quick, fed my sister on my blood, kept her alive an extra 2 weeks. I didn't sleep for 3 days to protect her body from the starving till the ground thawed. I cut out her kidneys and buried her, fat cap on them like a pea. I haven't eaten a single meal since. My mind didn't go to that bite. It was the last thing I ever did, because I had to. I control my life now. Every bite." I just thought that it was a very chilling quote. Very nice. Thank you so very much, Akira. Emma says, yeah, we need to destroy the status quo, because the status is not quo. BMD says, my scream is very high-pitched, and when I was pretending I was a man, I was so insecure about it. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. There were some recordings I heard when I was like a teenager. I heard my voice lilting towards the higher pitch, and I felt so insecure about it. But looking back on it now, it's like, I aim towards that. Sparrow says, I'm still very tired and it's still only 6 in the morning. Heading back to sleep. Have a good rest of the stream. Thank you so much for creating the contents that you do. Thank you so much, Spyro. Good night. BMD says, I know this quote. Thank you so very much, Emma. I love the line. It demonstrates Fowler so well. I especially love how he goes from being friendly sounding to just chilling. Especially when he's talking about the death of his sister. And having to do the literal unthinkable in order to stay alive. Because, well, it's precisely what happened. We starved. Everyone starved. Now's on the dead stained green from chewing nettles. You get resourceful in a famine. Yeah. But a thing to remember is to be kind regardless. Even if you're unsure of the quote-unquote legitimacy of someone's suffering, because the second we get to questioning who is actually suffering in our community, we stop being like ourselves and start being like the corpos who want to see us become part of their machine, part of their world. Cut out the respect, cut out the dignity, and what are you left with? A bunch of scared feelings of accidentally giving $1 to someone who may or may not be in need. On our way back from that event, when we were about to leave LA, there was a lady who had stopped us. And originally, Akira wanted to just blow her off because she seemed to have this quote script on that she had heard several times before. That she was, kicked out from her job and that her kids are hungry, etc. And then I just remembered that we had food. We had food that we had in our car. And one of the things that she talked about was that they were hungry. And one of the things that I just thought of is, okay, why don't we just give some of the food to them? We can do that. And if they are what Akira thinks they are and is just begging for money, simply because that's now their method of a living, which I mean, I don't think that we should, condemn someone for that lifestyle either. It's already a really, really, the only reason I would condemn a beggar is if they were a billionaire pretending to be a beggar. Like, they legitimately just have billions. Because then it's just another method of giving billions more to a billionaire. But food. Giving food to a person. We can do that. Just handing over a bottle of water and some snacks so that someone's potential kids can, go with something that they can eat. We can do that. And if they just throw it away afterwards, then that's the choice made by someone after we've already done our part. We don't sacrifice our kindness. We don't sacrifice our empathy. And we do our best to help in a situation where we think we can help. It's why I don't look at drug use as a sign of morality either. Yes, the usage of some illicit substances can cause an enormous risk to a person's health. And yes, some of the things that people can do whilst they are on these illicit substances. I do not excuse the actions taken on or off drugs if they are immoral in any way. I simply say that in a world where their very names are forgotten, where no one stops to ask about them as people, where people just treat them as another pebble on the side of the road. When someone's eyes well up with tears, and they are made extremely happy simply at the chance to tell someone their name, to be a person once more. Who wouldn't try a hit of drugs? Who wouldn't try to find that momentary joy wherever it is, even if it's at the bottom of a bottle or a needle? Because where else are they going to get it? They don't have family like we do. They're already treated as outcasts, treated as less than. Why wouldn't they try it? So if you ever have the time, sit with them, ask their name, hear their story, give them some water, give them some food if you can. Don't let the city stop you. I don't really care about food handlers' licenses and all that, especially if they get in the way of feeding hungry people. It is, in my view, just one of those little things that you can do in active rebellion against a cruel system. Break the law if it helps someone. If it means just a few ordinances about food handling, especially if you just buy pre-packaged food and hand it off to someone else, I suggest you do that if you can. If that's something that you can do without breaking your own bank and survival. You never know if you are the person who ends up homeless next, if you're staring down at a needle because no one else calls your name anymore, to the point where you just want to forget it yourself. It feels like a slow dive towards a demise. So why not take that little hint of joy where you can? Why don't we be that light of joy to someone, to ask for their name, to treat them like a person again? I was very close to being homeless myself. Very, very close. Believe it or not, if it wasn't for Akira, I would have died in a ditch long ago. If it weren't for a group of people making sure that I had a roof over my head and that I was safe, I would have been on the side of the road in Missouri, still. Hungry, destitute, lost, without much hope. Maybe at some point I would have been looked at as one of the countless people who just beg at the sides of road for a scrap of food. I could have been one of thousands that look at the needle and go, well, just one more shot of joy, I guess, where I can. There's nothing else to look forward to, and no one's going to judge me more than they already do. So, thanks, Akira, for saving my life in more ways than I can count. And thank you to all the countless friends that helped me get to where I am right now, to where I am sharing a roof with a lovely adoptive sister, where I'm able to keep my stomach full, to which my name is remembered, to which I'm treated as an actual person. It means more than gold. It means more than anything in the universe, and it certainly means more than the stars themselves. I cherish it. Thank you. So, so very much. I mean it. And don't forget yourself in all of this, too. I'm not saying break the bank. I'm not saying go broke. And I'm certainly not saying live on the street yourself and face down that needle. Treat yourself well as well. Treat yourself with active compassion. Ask yourself if you're being kind to yourself. And remember to drink some water, okay? Your body needs it too. You need that too. Enjoy and live life where you can, and keep in mind your fellow person. Sorry to get all preachy. Feels like what I can do, I guess. Laws are threats made by an overarching governing body, I say, in my 100% original Brennan Lee Mulligan impression. Anyways, thank you so very much for stopping by and for hanging out with me today. I hope to do this a lot more. I've been promising to and failing to stream more. I hope to stream a lot more than this in the coming days. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much. And again, please make sure you eat some brilliant food and make sure you drink some water. And stay safe out there. Surviving is winning, especially these days. You mean the universe to me, and to others too. Never forget that. Good night.